Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is Metro Update, and we're fortunate to have with us the mayor of Nashville, Mayor PBredesen. And Mayor Bredesen, let me welcome you to the show this morning.
My pleasure being here. Thank you.
Mayor Bredesen, we've had you a couple of times before, I think once while you were candidate for the office of mayor, and again soon after you became the mayor of the city of Nashville. Let's sort of give you an opportunity to give us a Metro update over the next 3 or 4 minutes in terms of some of the things that have been accomplished since you have become mayor of Nashville.
Well, there's a number of things that I feel good about. We certainly have tried to put in place a whole new ethical standard for Metro employees, and I guess one of my first acts in office was to issue some executive orders which made disclosure and made certain kinds of conflicts of interest not appropriate. Right now, I'm having just finished the whole budget process. I feel very good about the budget process this year. Last year, we were able to add a number of new services without increasing taxes at all. This year, we did ask for a tax increase, specifically to fund some pay raises for employees, some capital work on the schools, and of course the arena. But that's been passed now, and I feel I'm coming up on 2 years now, and feel it's been a good 2 years. I think we're moving as a city, and people are feeling good about the city.
Very good. As a matter of fact, I think that's the general consensus, and more than anything, I think it came out during the recent budget hearing. And let's talk about that budget and some of the things that came out of that. Certainly, we want to talk about the arena today, but let's talk about the whole budget process and some of the things that you felt that you were able to accomplish with the budget this time around.
Sure. Well, the largest single change in the budget was some pay raises for Metro employees. Unfortunately, we haven't had any for the past 4 years, and I felt it was about time to be doing something to try and help the employees out. So we negotiated with them basically a 3-year package involving a 5% increase this year and then 3% in each of the next 2 years. So that should at least keep them up with inflation over the coming 3 years. And that was the largest single piece of the budget package. We also asked for and passed some major capital improvements to the school system, $110 million worth, which will go to renovate and rebuild a number of elementary schools, 4 of the high schools, build a brand new comprehensive high school down in the southeastern part of the county in the Antioch area, and really make quite a change. I think it's easily the largest single investment we ever made in the school system. I feel very good about it.
Very good. I think one of the aspects of that budget had to do with the arena. And I think that people have talked about that arena, and I think it has finally been approved by the council. But let's look at some of the things that were said about the arena prior to its approval. And let's look at some of the justifications for that and some of the things that went through your mind in terms of deciding that Nashville ought to have an arena, and it ought to be located exactly where you have planned for it to be located. Why should it be there, and some of the justifications for it?
Well, you know, the arena isn't a new idea in Nashville. It's been being talked about for 15 years or so, and I guess the only credit I would take is for taking the thing off the table or off the shelf and trying to get it moving. I looked at a number of different kinds of capital projects for the city. An arena was one, obviously, stadium, new libraries, those kinds of things. And I really felt the arena would do the most for the most people and was the one that ought to be supported. As far as downtown goes, we had looked at some previous studies. There have now been 4 studies done that looked at siting an arena. Each of them has come up with downtown as the preferred site. The central location, the ease of access, the interstates access that exists to it, what it can do to help develop downtown, to enhance the convention center, to help develop Lower Broad and 2nd Avenue in those areas, all, I guess, made us feel that was the best possible site. That was one of the more controversial parts of the proposal, but I think most people came to agree when they really looked at it that that was the right thing to do.
Now, you've got a vision for what should be downtown in Nashville, and certainly it covers what you might call new green space along the Cumberland River, and I think it has some connection with Opryland and et cetera. Let's spend a few minutes and talk about that vision of what you really see the arena playing a part in your new downtown Nashville.
Well, you know, I think any city, to be successful, has to have a successful downtown. When people come to visit the city, that's where they go. They may go to the Hermitage, and they may go to Cumberland Museum and so on, but that they will come downtown at some point. And I'd like to have an area which is vital and exciting and interesting and causes people to stay and leave some of their money behind for the businesses and the people who work here. I think you help that through public investment, through things like this arena, by anchoring one corner of the area with an investment like that. I think Opryland is very much doing their part in terms of their renovation of the Ryman and the Second Avenue project they have, their willingness to bring boats on the river to carry people back and forth with Opryland. We're starting to see now, since the arena's been passed, a lot of interest on the part of other organizations and businesses and coming into that area. And I think we're well on our way to having a very exciting, I won't say 24-hour day, but 18-hour a day kind of operation from sunrise to midnight down there. I think that would be great for the city.
And at the same time, you've attempted to talk about preserving space down along that area. I think that might be your newest project up to this point. Let's talk about that project.
Yeah, we have Shelby Park, which many people in the city know is a beautiful park that's been around quite a while in the city. There is a lot of land further along the river to the north and east, I guess it would be, of Shelby Park along the river. That land has been targeted for development for a long time. There's a lot of activity during the mid-1980s trying to put some sort of development together there. It's a huge parcel of land. It stretches probably 2 miles or 2.5 miles along the river. And it was available in 3 or 4 different pieces. And I felt it was the sort of thing that we ought to acquire and make available to future generations, not as a marina or as apartment buildings, but as parkland. You know, we have in this city today some wonderful parks that people really enjoy and really add a lot to the city. And the reason we have it is there were some far-sighted people back in the last century, the early part of this century, who made the investment in land. And I guess I would like our generation to be doing its part to leave that same legacy to future generations. And this, for me, is a part of that process.
I think, Mayor, when you first